For centuries, stories have circulated about a lost city hidden beneath the sands of the Arabian desert. A place once known as Ubar, described as wealthy, powerful, and advanced for its time. Ancient texts refer to it as Iram of the Pillars. According to legend, it was a magnificent city built by a proud people who defied the will of the gods and were punished for it. The entire city was said to vanish in a single night, swallowed by the desert. Many believe it was just a myth, but over time, the legend persisted. Bedouin tribes spoke of crumbled stone ruins buried deep in the empty quarter, the largest sea of sand on Earth. European explorers searched for it in the 19th century. And in the late 20th century, the mystery caught the attention of NASA scientists and archaeologists. What they found would spark global curiosity and might just prove the myth was real. This is the story of the ancient city buried beneath the desert, of forgotten empires, satellite discoveries, and a riddle hidden in the sands of Arabia. Ubar was first mentioned in ancient Islamic texts, where it was called Iram dat al-Imad, Iram of the Pillars. The Quran describes it as a city of immense wealth and arrogance, inhabited by the tribe of Awith Makrandi. According to the story, they were warned to change their ways. When they refused, a violent storm struck the city, and it disappeared beneath the sands. For centuries, people debated whether Iram was a real place or purely symbolic, a moral tale about pride, power, and divine punishment. But the legend didn't stop there. Arab oral tradition kept the story alive, describing ruins buried in the desert, stone arches, collapsed towers, remnants of an ancient civilization. Some travelers claimed to have seen them on long desert crossings. European explorers in the 1800s, including T. Lawrence, better known as Lawrence of Arabia, became fascinated by the idea of a lost Arabian city. They called it Atlantis of the Sands. Still, no physical evidence ever confirmed its existence. The Rub al-Khali, also known as the Empty Quarter, is one of the most remote and hostile environments on Earth. Shifting dunes can bury entire structures, hiding them for thousands of years. For generations, Ubar remained a mystery, part myth, part possibility. But in the late 20th century, that would finally start to change. In the early 1990s, a team of researchers decided to take a new approach to the mystery of Ubar. Instead of searching the desert on foot, they looked at it from space. Using NASA's satellite imaging technology, they analyzed the Rub al-Khali from above. What they found was unexpected. Faint lines beneath the sand, invisible to the naked eye. These were believed to be ancient caravan routes, etched into the earth by thousands of camels over centuries of trade. The lines all seemed to converge at a single point, deep in southern Oman. That point was a place called Shizr, a small settlement surrounded by desert. When the team arrived, they found something remarkable: ruins. Excavation revealed the remains of a large structure, possibly a fortress, built over a deep limestone cavern. The ceiling of that cavern had collapsed long ago, and some believe that collapse may have contributed to the city's downfall. The discovery made headlines around the world. National Geographic called it the most important archaeological find in the Arabian Peninsula in nearly a century. The media quickly connected it to the ancient legend. To many, this was Ubar. But the question remained, was it truly the lost city of legend, or something else entirely? At first, many believed the mystery had been solved. The ruins at Shizr matched the descriptions passed down through legend. A once thriving outpost, now collapsed and buried by time. The satellite data had led directly to it. The story felt complete. But archaeologists were more cautious. What they found at Shizr was real, no doubt. Walls, towers, pottery shards, and evidence of ancient trade. Radiocarbon dating suggested the site had been used for thousands of years. But there was no clear proof it was Ubar. No inscriptions bearing the name, no grand architecture to match the mythical city of pillars. Some argued that the site was simply a caravanserai, a fortified rest stop for traders crossing the harsh desert. Others believed it might have once been part of a larger settlement, long since destroyed or buried beneath the sand. There was also the collapsed cavern. The fortress appeared to have been built directly over a limestone void. Over time, water had eroded the rock beneath it, causing the ground to give way. Some researchers proposed that this natural collapse may have inspired the story of a city swallowed by the earth. Fact and legend were beginning to blur. Had the myth of Ubar grown from a real place like Shizr? Or had the legend existed first, and explorers projected it onto the ruins? The evidence raised more questions than answers. But one thing was clear: the desert had been hiding something. Even after decades of research, the mystery of Ubar is far from settled. Some scholars remain convinced that Shizr is the site of the legendary city. Others believe Ubar never existed at all, that it's a symbol, not a place. But that's the power of ancient myths. They blur the line between memory and imagination, between history and belief. Whether Ubar was a grand city, a simple outpost, or nothing more than a cautionary tale, it continues to captivate us. Because the idea of a lost civilization buried beneath the desert speaks to something deeper: our fear of forgetting, and our fascination with what lies just beyond reach. The sands of the empty quarters still stretch for hundreds of miles, untouched and unexplored. And in a landscape that can erase a city overnight, who's to say what else might be hidden below? The story of Ubar reminds us that sometimes legends are built on grains of truth, and all it takes is a shift in the wind to bring them back to the surface.